Good evening. It is August 12th, 2025. I'm Glenda Carlin, and this is my weekly A Course in Miracles and Tibetan Buddhism Zoom meeting. Um, and of course, we invite in Holy Spirit, Jesus, Buddha, the enlightened beings. Be here. You're always here, but we're acknowledging you. Help me, guide me what to do or say, and help those that are here to hear the truths that they need that helps them in their awakenings. And welcome, God D. Welcome, God Angela. Welcome, God Leon. Welcome, God Danelle. Welcome, God Glenda. And those that watch this video later, thank you. But it surely makes such a big difference by being here in form and having your camera on when you can. There's something about, oh, there's Chaz. Woohoo! Chaz, if yes. You made it. Atta girl. Yeah. There's something about the camera on this awareness and energy, spirit, light. Even if you just turn the camera on and show a part of the room or something, or part of it, it doesn't matter. But, or if you don't, you don't. Let's see. Oh, so last week I didn't have a meeting, and you know that it was late in the afternoon. Talk about things are in order. Just the way they're supposed to be, even though sometimes they don't look like it. One of the condo owners texted me wanting to know the room the city hall meeting was in, that planning meeting was in. And I thought to myself, I better make sure that it's in this city hall auditorium where the council meets. And so I called, I gotta fix the earring here. It's not quite in my ear. It was poking me. Is so I called, and they canceled the meeting. But it was late in the afternoon, and I kind of was going with the flow and didn't want to just spring a meeting on you all. But here's the thing. So then I ask, how do people know when these meetings are canceled? And so I learned the city of Rockledge has a website, and I got the website address, and you scroll down the bottom, there's a calendar and of all the events, and the calendar will show the meeting time, or it says big letters canceled. So this meeting had the word canceled on it, and it probably was canceled maybe the Friday before, because this was a Tuesday, right? But I don't know, because I didn't think to ever question they canceled a meeting. But so then I wrote up a document and put on both bulletin boards of these two 5-story condo buildings that people can go to that website and look up these meetings, and that I'll be letting them know when that new meeting's planned. So see, it all became kind of an education thing, you know, and going with the flow kind of thing. Yeah. Oh, because the city hadn't made all the plan revisions or review they had needed, and the developer hadn't made changes they wanted him to make. So the meeting will be rescheduled. And the meeting's always the first Tuesday of every month. So that means that I'll be canceling some meeting in the future. No big deal. But anyway, okay. And it's been quite an eventful time period. See, for that would have been the week before last Tuesday, and then the following week. So I've been through like this almost 2 weeks, where every day sometimes I would make my journal notes 2, 3, 4 times a day because so much was happening. I only emailed out a little bit of what was going on. But tonight I'm even going to change. I'm going to add something right off the bat here. And it's because of something that occurred today, or wait, it really started last Thursday. I woke up with a film on my left eye, and right off the bat went, I don't think that's normal. So I called my general doctor, and who's been my doctor for over 20 years. And when I thought about this and was making some other notes, I realized I must really get along with him because has told me and repeatedly told me if I needed something prior to an appointment, just call the receptionist and let them know that he said it's okay for them to fit me in that day, right? Okay. But I never have really used that, whatever you want to call it, until last Thursday when I woke up with this. I'm thinking, oh, hold it, they're off on a Friday. I better get in there. And come to find out he was off that day, but his assistant would do a virtual meeting with me. So they made an appointment. I went in and but then she came in to see me and another patient. But I have conjunctivitis, and she gave me a prescription, a salve. And bottom line, this also taught me, this is what I learned during COVID, but I've kind of forgot it. Wash those hands and keep my hands away from my eyes and my nose, right? I mean, just keep them away. So see, I got to remember all that. Even though this is an illusion, I don't need a issue with my eyes or my nose or whatever. But so they gave me a script, and I was to put this salve in both eyes because the other eye kind of started to itch a little bit or whatever. But when I picked up this little teeny tiny tube of salve, the inscription, the note said, apply to the left eye, apply to the left eye 4 times a day for 7 to 10 days. Oh, no, what she told me applied to both eyes 4 times a day, 7 to 10 days. But the script said just apply to one eye, 5 days. But when it came to Sunday, I realized that little tube was not going to last. So I needed a refill. Long story short, it took me about 4 phone calls to get this refill. And Dee and I were just kind of talking, and I wrote up some notes about this, but it hadn't occurred to me until I was in the bathroom right before this meeting that I kind of thought near the end, I recognized maybe I'd gone from being factual with them to being judgmental. But when I was talking to Dee, what I realized really happened was I was a wrathful deity because I was communicating with my doctor's staff and nurses, not him, of course, and things weren't being followed up. So I make a call. Oh, the script was electronically sent in, but then I call Walgreens, they don't have it. Then you call them back. Oh, we'll redo it. And call me back in a couple hours, and you go back and forth like that. And finally, I was leaving messages, and the receptionist said, I really want to talk to someone. You can't talk to anyone. The nurses with patients, the PAs with patients, you cannot talk to them. I said, then, because after the nurse, I said, I want to leave a message for the doctor's assistant that I'm having trouble getting this refill. And then when she said, no, she can't, she's busy, she's with a patient. I said, well, I want to leave a message for Dr. Salazar that I'm not getting help on having my script filled because I'm out. See, this sucker was out. This was today. This was today about before noon and there about 1. And no, at no point had I ever really lost my cool. In the olden days, hell, I'd be yelling at them. I just got a little firm with them. But it dawned on me, don't you know when I said I want to leave a message to Dr. Salazar, evidently that boy he checks his laptop because within minutes, one of those nurses called me and said, "Oh, I have called Walgreens. I've double checked. They have your prescription now." See, they actually even called Walgreens before I was doing the go back and forth, and then you call the office and they can't talk to you because of course they're meeting a patient. Oh, and I forgot to mention, I love this part that came through when they said the nurse and the assistant was with the patient. It came through to say, don't they do the middle way, meaning help the patients that call while they help the patients that are there? No, they don't do that. They just help the patients that are there and do the messages at the end of the day. I said, well, I don't want to wait till the end of the day because I'm out. I don't want to go through 2 sessions of no sad. But what I realized is that was a lackadaisic office. And so Dr. Salazar now gets to, I'm just reading through the line, is telling them, hold it, she shouldn't be having to go through all these calls and all this stuff to get a refill. But see, then after this was done, before it came to me that this was a wrathful deity, besides that, I sat in my chair and I practiced some advanced forgiveness. Because I had, in the beginning, when I make the calls, I was keeping track they were spirit. I was thinking of them as spirit. But as this kind of went along in that last conversation, I kind of lost track that they were spirit. So I sat in my chair and, I just love it. One of the things I want to talk about tonight is because I'm practicing this truth that says, in seeing, just seeing, there's nothing to see and no one to see it. I've been practicing this truth pretty hard for these 2 weeks. And what's resulted is I'm able to lean back and rest in this, what I used to just call clear light. But now this clear light, it's got substance to it. It's got a solidity to this purity. It's hard to describe, but I'm going to try. This purity has a substance. There, I can feel it. It's no longer elusive to me. Of course, in the absolute, there's no solidity or more of a feeling or etc. But in duality, in awakening, we get so we're receptive to the feeling of spirit, of our own spirit, and the purity of it, etc. But anyway, so I sat in my chair and I lean back and I'm sitting in that solidity of spirit. And I just call up the images. I know these people, the receptionist, the assistant that helps the doctor, the 2 nurses. Now, for Walgreens, I don't know those people. So I just took my vision, and went above the building and went into the pharmacy area and just kind of in general looked at the pharmacy area for the purity of spirit that they were. And I would just sit with that with them. And I'm taking time to say this because this is huge. Because it's not the cards we're dealt, but how we play the hand. And in my email, I talk about I've been also playing the game of solitaire for about 2 weeks. Years ago, I kind of played it by hand. I've never really played it on the screen, but I play it on my TV. And boy, in my notes, I think I kind of covered that really was bringing home to me the fact the game of solitaire mimics the game of life. What plays am I going to make? Am I going to look at the overall view of the screen, make a move, and then go, oh, I could change. There's an undo button, and you can undo that move to see what the other card looks like that gets unveiled, and you make choices. You make these choices as you play this game. And then as I play that solitary game, I'm aware of how my mind's acting, what it's saying about the cards that come up, about whether winning or losing. It's this whole thing of attachment and aversion. But anyway, in awakening, what we're becoming aware of, we're going from ordinary awareness to awakened awareness, the capital A awareness. Because I've not really written about this, but without awareness, big A awareness is really all we got. That's in that. If we're not aware of this clear light of spirit or our essence, our true nature of how the mind works, if we're not aware of this, we're lost. So really it's awareness. Now, regular awareness just sees objects and doesn't ever cut through them to think about their spirit or etc. So it's really awareness that becomes awakened because spirit's always been here, but it's been veiled by our thoughts, of course. Anyway, all right. So, um, so how do you handle the situation? Oh, so why I'm bringing this up is we're living our lives. Most times when we come here to meet, I'm talking about my experiences and truths, but here the rubber meeting the road. How are we living our life incorporating these truths? And that's why I want to brought this up, because we're not just bumps on a log, accepting whatever the hell shows up. Oh, the reception says they can't talk to that person. Oh, that person will get to you at the end of the day. Oh, okie dokie. No, all right, I'll wait. Well, it's up to each of us as to what choice you're going to make. But there's a multitude of choices to make. But the biggest deal is, what's my attitude? What is my attitude while I'm listening to this? What is my intention? Is my intention to get along, help communicate what I'd like, hear their position, and you're negotiating. But also, am I seeing through it once in a while to remember their spirit? This is my dream I'm looking at here. This is what showed up in front of my face. Because I knew enough when these conversations were going on, was this is showing up in front of my face. This is my dream. How am I handling my dream? That's where the rubber meets the road. And then when the conversations are done, what am I doing with the conversation? Am I ruminating on them? Am I rehashing the conversations and I'm letting ego mind call them names and all that stuff that goes on and whatever? Because Jesus says in the Course we use our feelings to tell us which voice we're listening to. Well, it's a big learning experience, isn't it? I see y'all shaking your heads. Yes. We can do it or we wouldn't be awakening because we'd still be in the road getting run over by the cars. We'd still, we wouldn't be directed traffic. Now, before I forget, there's a second thing that I think I left out of my email is the word adornments. Adornments. I think that's how you spell it, adornments. In one of our Dzogchen prayers that we say most days when we meditate is the word adornments. And what it's saying is that all these images, like your faces that are there, your laptops, your room furniture, all those things are adornments of this radiant, creative spirit, adornments. And I see those adornments like I'm looking back there at the flowers, that Manjusri thing. There's a Jesus picture over there to the side. There's a Buddha statue, a crane. I now consider these things like jewelry that are adorning the clear light of spirit. They're adornments. And that word is helping me not be so attached to the objects, because that's a word that describes they're just adorning. They're created by spirit and they're to just adorn their light, the clear light. Just little toys it's playing with. Try that word, see if it helps you a little. Okay, now in my email, there were two main things I wanted to talk about tonight that I discovered. One of them was I was listening to a Lama Surya Das podcast on the Be Here Now network. And in that podcast, it is either was about naked awareness. And see, naked awareness, that means this primordial view, this view of seeing this innocence, this purity of God presence, source, is this clear light. Naked awareness. And I think the other video I was listening to was called The Natural Great Perfection. But in one of those two, he was quoting James Joyce. And James Joyce says something about living a little distance from the body, from my body. And see, I hadn't really thought of that. Now, what also Lama Surya Das spoke of is a quote Buddha had, something like, Buddha never said anything. People heard what they wanted to say. How I took that was all these times I listened to that Lama Surya Das in Zoom meetings or watching him in videos later. And like you're listening to me, you're taking from whatever I say what you want to hear and what you want to apply, integrate in your life, right? And that's what I was doing with those 3 or 4 years where he was my guru. And even now when I listen to the podcast, what I'm taking a truth to contemplate, investigate, reflect on, implement, and integrate in my life. And so I thought about that sentence, living a little distance from my body. And it dawned on me during this 2 weeks, one of the things that occurred was I was, you know how I teach about Jesus's advanced forgiveness and about Treched, which is the main Dzogchen practice that's cutting through, seeing through the form to the clear light of spirit that's here. And Jesus's advanced forgiveness is looking beyond the form to the spirit, not the flesh. Well, I realized I was stuck in the mode of constantly looking at an object and cutting through it to see the clear light. And I've done that practice for a few years, but I realized I was stuck. And why I was stuck, excuse me. Oh, I was stuck in that practice when Lama Surya Das says, seekers must become finders. And that's when you stabilize something, one of these truths, but you find truth. You find, you rest in your clear light beingness. But anyway, as I sat, I want you all to consider doing this, to sit and be with your mind as you look at an object and cut through it to see the clear light. Before you go to cut through it, if you're real perceptive, in the split second or more before you cut through, you'll see clear lights here. It's here. Before you actually go cut through. And what I found was that split second that was a distance of separation that I was keeping between me and the objects. And as I sat with this, and I wrote about it in the email, what came to me is this big generalization that first, in the Garden of Eden, when we were all awake, we were our part of the sonship. We each agreed to make these images, to play with them, make physical form. And when we were awake in the garden, everything was hunky-dory. We were aware we were spirit, where we were in the body, experiencing the body as spirit, until we fell asleep and thought we were a body. But guess what? When we fell asleep, all this is unconscious, is we blamed God for separating from us. That's the unconscious belief that's there. And that's why in the Course, Jesus says that's one of the last beliefs you'll ever let go of, the fear of God. It's unconscious. And but to sit with that and come to your own resolution about that is huge, because that fear is sitting and won't go away just with one sitting, but it goes, that thought of being separate from God or blaming God that he walked away from us because we were loving a body more than we loved him, is what we think. So we blame God. He went away. No, it was my thought. But I realized it's brilliant that Jesus in the Course and Buddhism teaches us to rest and be. And neither one really say, go rest in God. Go be with God. But ultimately, that's what you realize you're doing. But Jesus can't say that to us because who the hell knows how to rest with God? So you just rest or be, meaning you just kind of lean back, breathe, smile, relax, try to just relax, let go, let the edges of your body go and just kind of rest. But the more you rest or be, what's happening, you're softening into God's presence. Softening, 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 and you're giving up that fear. So, boy, that's why this meditation is so important and rest in me. But I digress. The thing was, what I'm trying to get at is, back in the Garden of Eden, it started millions or billions of years ago, that effing fear of God. And in essence, the creator separating from his creations, meaning the sonship. We believe that. That's one misbelief. But just I want to re-say that. The creator separated from his creations, meaning the sonship. And but look what we've done. We are the creator of all these forms. The sonship created all these forms. And the sonship fell asleep and has forgotten it created the forms. But guess what the Son of God, you and I, do when we're asleep? We blame our body for the separation from God. And then we blame other bodies for, if they weren't acting that way, I wouldn't be acting this way. Therefore, then I wouldn't be feeling this way and not feeling peaceful and loving. My brother's bodies, their actions are causing me cancel. I'm accepting Julie. Here comes Julia. So now I'm not doing real well explaining this, but here's the two big issues. To retrace, unsort, undo, is the creator did not separate from his creations. That's just a thought. Plus, we are a creator. Here comes Debbie. We are a creator of all the images you see here on physical universe, the sonship. We did it. But we have separated ourselves from all the creations because we believe they're in separate bodies. And we believe we're in a separate body. So this third thing that I wrote in my email about in seeing, there's nothing to see and no one to see it. That is addressing this issue of separation, that I'm a body. There's nothing to see. There's nobody out there to see, no objects, which, by the way, I want to put a bit disclaimer here. If anybody viewing this isn't ready to give up that view, it's okay. Just being aware that this is the big judgment that we've got laying in our unconscious mind is huge. I never understood this. I never understood the big problem the big problem. But the sonship created objects to play with to feel unequal love. Got tired of the equal love of God, wanted to change, that's all. So that was all. But the thing is, when he fell asleep, then he started blaming my body did it. And now how I can read it is my body's got a throat, my speech, my mean actions, my mean voice, and what I'm saying. My hands can hit, can strike, can point, can do all that crap. My feet can hit, blah, 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 hold a whatever gun, whatever. It's the body that gets blamed for the separation. And we created the body. The sonship created the body. Okay, so to retrace what happens in awakening, at least for me, I had to retrace these judgments I've had, first acknowledge them, recognize them, what's going on here, and then retrace them and let go of my judgment of that I'm a body, and that your body's out there. There's bodies out there. And we each let go of them as we can. Because this is two things I'm talking about, letting go of the separate self, or the separate belief of in my separate body, and the belief there's separate bodies out there. So as I sat with that saying, and I have to explain, I've heard that Lama Surya Das say that truth many, many, many times, but I wasn't ready to hear it. I wasn't ready to hear it. Now, and each of you are building your spiritual foundation to where then you're able to then grasp and contemplate and investigate bigger, all-encompassing truths that can free you from a multiple judgments when you're ready for it. You don't push yourself. And why I say don't push yourself, I went back and looked at my notes. For over 5 years, off and on, I've talked to you all about how I would let go of this thought I was a body. One of the main ways is to cut through, see through your form when you look at yourself in a mirror, to see through to the clear light of spirit. And on the objects that are out there, the bodies that are out there, cut through them to see through the clear light of spirit. But one of the thing that repeatedly happened was during meditation, it would come to me to stand at the edge of a cliff. And with my arms straight out to the sides, I would just take a step backwards and I would fall off that cliff through the air. And as I fell through the air, it was like a sieve. You know, these sieves you press through, like you make pasta noodles. You see the big noodle goes through and you get out the little tiny noodles. This sieve pressed through my body to send these thin light rays all through my cells. As I fell through the air, the space, light went through it was a sieve. That's what it felt like, cut through all my cells to show this clear light. And I didn't land with a thump or anything, just a soft landing. And I'd lay there just sitting or being with the light, you know. resting there. But as I remembered that and practiced that, back then I had not been able to feel what this clear light felt like. But now it feels like I was describing, like a solidity, like a denseness of clear light, a softness, and it's got a gentle joy feeling to it. But anyway, why this came up was, so Monday morning, after I've been practicing this in seeing there's nothing to see and no one's to see it for several days, I and I got so I could lean back and just feel this real softness of spirit, of God's presence, which is our essence, our spirit. I thought, ooh, I'm gonna fall, relax is the word, deeper, deeper, deeper into that clear light. And I did. I laid in bed and I just leaned back further and further into this clear light. And what came to me was a sentence that Lama Surya Das says in one of these either Naked Awareness or Natural Great Perfection Be Here Now Network podcasts. He talks about a dog, about what I'm talking about here is coming home to the thrower, coming home to the knower of spirit, your primordial awareness. But anyway, he says something like, don't just be like a dog that chases the bone when it's thrown. Go find the thrower and jump on the thrower. You'll get more than bone, he says. And I never understood that. But what I'm talking about here is I went back to the thrower. I went back to the beginningless beginning of this clear light that's always here before I started thinking my separate thoughts. And I decided to be like a dog. I visualized a dog with a mouth and his teeth. He bit in, and tear is kind of a brutal word. That's not really describes what I was doing. But I just bit into this wholeness of this clear light, purity. Right now, I call this pure. Is the word purity is all that I really call it now. And when I bit into it, picture when you bite into something, you really are going into it. So man, I was biting into that purity. and and I was kind of went like, grrr, like a dog when it gets that bone and it's really is enjoying that bone and because see that Lama Surya Das, he would say that. Jump on that throw and you'll get more than bone. Because see, that is my intention is to really go deep, deep. I know these are words, but and don't you know, all of a sudden, so I had leaned back, and in my email, I call it like a feather bed. I only wrote that because I was trying to express what this feels like. It's soft. It's a gentle joy. Like a feather bed. But yet it's an embracing feeling that you lean back and just fall into, let go, do that, breathe, smile, and relax, and on that you're just relaxing more, and then you just take some more in breaths and out breaths and go and I found myself saying and I would just relax deeper and deeper. And don't you know, during my Dzogchen daily meditation, David will actually say, now I want you to go deeper. I never thought about what really that meant. Just take that breath and lean back, go deeper, deeper. Do you know, at one point when I was doing that, all of a sudden, the purity of this clear light, it took over. And I just saw and felt my body was falling through this purity, through this, well, it was falling through darkness. It was falling through darkness, but purity was there with me. And as I fell, it was like I was falling through a tunnel. And as I sat with this later, I realized it's falling through the great ray tube and the central channel, that all this has been clogged up with our thoughts of separation. But yet, so my body is retracing these layers of judgmental thoughts of my brothers and myself that are clogging up this tunnel, this tube. I've fallen, and it went on for, I don't know, 10 or 15 minutes. And I kind of saw, you know, how when you're younger, your parents in a door frame, they'll have you stand there and there'll be a little notch with a date. You were this high that date. Then the next year, this high, this date. There were kind of like little notches along this tunnel, but I saw what it was doing. It was ticking off the years from now till back to the Garden of Eden time. So it was ticking off, if not millions or billions of years of my dark thoughts. I was falling through this dark tunnel, knowing my dark thoughts were being healed. I just knew it. Oh, but what's different between this experience and my experience before was when I fell off the back of the cliff, I was just going through space. It had no feeling, I have no feeling of what clear light felt like. It was like space. But now this clear light has a soft solidity to it, a gentle joy. But anyway, so after I got to the bottom, I kind of forget because so much has been going on, is then, then my body ascended up the tunnel. And as it got further and further up the tunnel, I knew I was ascending up, you know, to the light. When it got closer and closer to the top, I noticed my breath and the light was not just going vertical, my breath and the light was going left and right horizontally. And what it was doing, it was healing the horizontal axis for all the physical realms, all the judgments. That's the left and right of the horizontal axis point of physical life. As this light was ascending, the horizontal was getting cleaned and healed and was moving up with the vertical axis. And Jesus says somewhere in the Course that without his help, we wouldn't be able to span the distance we've fallen, because it has been long and deep. Because this long and deep means the rut of our habitual thinking of lifetime after, just think this lifetime of 50, 60, 70 years of thinking we are a body, people are bodies, and all these thoughts we've had of separation. But then lifetime after lifetime after lifetime is that horizontal line is being lifted as this ascension is going up this vertical column. And when it got to the top, the horizontal and the vertical met in source presence. Now, of course, there's no spot or place where horizontal physical living actually meets God presence. This is just a way I'm describing this because it's just a union. But for me, I felt like there was a spot, and that spot's that still center. The still center, that vertical axis is the still center. But when it met where source presence is, it no longer was a center. The horizontal had met the vertical, and it was all center. There only was purity everywhere. And see, that's what this truth of in seeing, just seeing, there's nothing to see and no one to see it. There's only purity. And that's where it rested. That's where it rested. But before that, before its healing was over, it took my body back down the column one final sweep. I don't know if this is final, but in that particular episode, it seemed it was cleaning some more debris out of there. I figure can't use enough cleaning. Now picture, of course, in the absolute, there's nothing to clean. We've never done anything wrong. There is no physical world. This was all just a dream, an illusion, a play toy thing. But we're asleep and we think this is pretty damn real. So that's why we never, ever, ever go to somebody's funeral, a funeral thing, and go, hold it, why are you guys all so upset that there's really nobody in that casket and this is all an illusion and what the hell, get over it, get over it. No, 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 no. What's happened for me is this integration of form and emptiness and consideration, compassion, and empathy. The more I'm aware of what the hell I've been thinking and coming out of my own ignorance, I just go, wow, we know not what we're doing. You know, have some empathy here, some compassion. And that's where I kind of now am, even though I know more and more this is an illusion, I'm walking around within my own dream. Oh, it's far out. I'm walking around within my own dream, my own projections. Oh, wow. Oh, man. You know, I still am meticulous to details because that's mindfulness in the now, the moment. How can I help my brothers and sisters wake up, but also just in general, be polite and courteous and helpful? Oh my goodness. But in groups like ours, we can talk these big truths. And those that are ready to see, well, it's something like those that are ready to see will hear it. Oh my goodness. Let's see how we're coming up really good time here. Oh, I read something. Here's a post from Lama Surya Das because I was sitting with how to help explain this purity that's everywhere now, the center that's everywhere. And here's a quote from Lama Surya Das, which will help us. Continue this laser-like questioning of who and what is experiencing, who is thinking, who is hearing, who, what, where, how. Excuse me. And then let go and release, drop everything. Drop body and mind and sense who or what is present between the thoughts, and when thought has ceased, even for a moment. For those that haven't experienced the clear light, because typically how this goes in Buddhism, there's a guru that the student learns with, and they present the nature of mind to them where they get a glimpse of this clear light. And once they have a glimpse, then they know there's a there. They know there's a presence. Now we can call it God, but a lot of people don't want to call it God, but call it whatever you want. This clear light that's the creative living force. This is a living force and that living force, because it's got this great ray in and out light movement to animate our form, it causes winds and in and out movement, which that causes our heartbeat too. But anyway, and breath, I digress. But there's a movement of winds through your central channel, all the meridians. That's bringing this thoughts and feelings, they come and go. But anyway, so between thoughts, there's a gap, there's a space, and that space is a clear light of source. So as you meditate or sit, he's saying, question what, who, and what is experiencing this? Because we'll talk about whose thoughts are these anyway? Who's doing what around here, right? Is it the body doing this? Who's doing, and Glenda doing this? Who's doing what around here? Who is thinking? Who's hearing all this? Who, what, where, how? Then let go. After you question that, let go, release, drop your body and your mind, and sense who or what is present between thoughts. And when thoughts have ceased, even for a moment. So what's present between those thoughts? And as a meditation is a great way to learn to be aware of that gap between thoughts. Because with meditation, then a person realizes, oh, my mind just wandered off to my grocery list or whatever's going on later. And you bring with mindfulness, the leash of remindfulness, back to center, to that spacious, whatever you, if you bring it back to your breath, I would bring it back to that space, clear space behind my forehead. Some people see moonlight, whatever you bring your attention back to, for you know it, and this is how it is. We don't deny or repress thoughts or feelings. They'll wander off again. But without sitting on a meditation cushion, of having that your body sit in a meditation cushion 10, 15, 20, go 30 minutes, then go 45, then an hour, it relaxes. It likes it. It learns to relax because you're become a master. It's no longer having to control everything. It's just all working, doing. You're relaxing. But then the mind, by repeatedly, a lot of people go, well, I don't like to meditate because all I'm doing thinking thoughts. Why do I want to? They're getting worse. Well, that's a good thing. If you weren't meditating, you wouldn't realize you had those thoughts. Thoughts were running the show. We were in unconsciously doing what they're saying. But now, a person's learning to let thoughts come and go. And when you wander off, to let go, come back to center. It's a habit. And you come back to center, let go. You're aware of the thought. You come back to center. It might do that 50, 100, 200 times in a meditation. It's called mind training, Jesus calls it. You're becoming master of your mind. Yay. Who, what, where, and how. But I've missed you all last week. I'm glad to be here this evening. I love you all so. Any any thoughts, questions, or comments? Or one of our teachers says rotten tomatoes, anything you want to do, throw or do. There's God Danelle. Ooh, God Julia joined in. God Debbie, God Leon, God Dee, God Chaz, God Angela, God Glenda. Oh my. Oh, so in conclusion, it dawned on me about that experience I had with my doctor's office, that I wanted to practice a couple of things, maybe three. One, when I go in for my visit, I'm going to take a tray of cookies or fruit or something with them to thank them. And sometimes I send them a thank you card. I want to send a card more often. But more importantly, I want to stop and take my vision to that building and be and sit with their clear light purity. Think of them as the clear light of spirit. And verbally, silently thank them for everything they do for me and all their patients, the service that they provide us. And it, well, think about all the millions, probably could be out of 8 billion, I don't know how many service-oriented doctors, nurses, receptionists, technicians, oh, my staff members that help, oh, the cleaners and maintenance people that keep those buildings operating, just goes on and on. They're to help take care of our forms. Thank you, thank you, thank you for all those healthcare providers throughout the universe. Anyway, okay. Any thoughts, comments, or questions? People love to hear thoughts, comments, or questions. But I'm pausing here a minute before I. Oh, and plus last week, I think Dee had that traumatic event where her neighbor passed. I thought about you a couple of times, Dee, bless your heart. And the neighbor and the family and all the people that have had loved ones pass.
You know, Glenda, I read something today. It was about a palm tree, and the woman said how she loved palm trees. And in a hurricane or a storm, how palm trees bend and they actually can go horizontal. And the reason that they actually can bend and go horizontal is because they are rooted in a community. They root themselves to other trees and big oak trees and it just resonated with me. They I was reading that Psalm 92 something, and it said be bendable like a palm tree. And when we are bendable like a palm tree, it's because we're rooted in community. Um, we are we are I guess we spread our root, we lean on each other, you know, we and we're not weak when we bend, but we're stronger. And it just resonated with me. I wish I had the quote um, to
Oh,
say.
you did good. You did good. Oh, Dee, isn't that marvelous?
And I saw like my whole neighborhood has become stronger because of we bent with each other. You know, we're stronger. You know, we're just stronger when we root to one another. Um, we're not weak. We're strong when we are there for each other.
Oh,
I
that's
just
so beautiful.
I thought that
Oh,
was pretty. Um,
oh,
Psalm 92. I'm going to say 16. I don't know the Bible real well, but ha, you know, and that's how it really feels. Like we all have leaned on each other.
mhm.
Really brought us closer. In fact, the neighbor's brother who lives at that house, he said, I was at the funeral, and we were the only, not to get weird, but we were the only white people there. And he was the pastor of the church, my neighbor. And he said, I know you're all wondering who these white people are. And he said, but that's the woman who tried to save my brother. And he said, and afterwards, they kept bringing food, blah, blah, blah. But, that really is what it's all about. Just being there for each other, even though it is the illusion, but just, just to support one another in our illusion. And I think that really matters. I think it
Oh, yes. Wow. Dee, that's so,
everything that you
that's
said today or tonight,
huge.
rather, like I just felt it right in my heart. Like my heart just felt, even though you were like, I don't know if I'm saying this right, but you're right. Like we will all hear um what we need to hear. We will get what we need to get. Um in life,
Mhm.
in everything that we do, God will show us. Jesus is here to show us that we are here to learn. um okay, it is an illusion, and I do agree with that, but the illusion is non-separateness. It is that we're all one, and just to show each other that. And I'm not saying be a doormat, like you said. We don't have to put up with anybody's bullshit. They could bullshit you till the cows come home, but you don't have to agree. I think that that we are learning for a reason. We're here for a reason and to learn for a reason. And that's what this illusion is for. To step out,
Call,
to step
you
out,
get a call.
to just step away from the ego, step away from the self. The self doesn't even fucking matter. I'm sorry. Whoop, sorry. Um, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It,
Great teaching.
it's
Great teaching. And is that in that it's called Indra's net, Indra apostrophe S net. It's a golden shimmering, like a fisherman's net, that we're all interconnected
yes.
with the pure light of spirit of God. That's our interconnection. And as we practice these truths, however we practice, we feel that interconnectedness. And even though it is an illusion, we want to help our brothers physically, whatever needed to be done, like you brought food. But don't you love it? You were the white people that brought an interconnected of white to black that's needed in the community to help. So many things you said, Dee, are just so beautiful. And the palm tree that interconnects with the roots of the trees, of the oak trees. But see, that's your spiritual foundation that you've rooted yourself to as well. All these truths as well, besides the support group of your family, friends, neighborhood, this group. Because Buddha said there's three jewels, the Buddha, which would be the Christ as well. But the Dharma, that's the truth, and the Sangha is the community that supports each other.
Mhm.
Like if any one of you had some issue, you could always call me or anyone in this group. We would help you. That's how it is. Your family. We're family. Like your family with that neighbor.
I feel like we're all family too.
Mhm.
I mean, we are. We are. We're all connected.
Yeah, the whole universe, a family is a family of beings. Oh, and that brings up, I forgot this point. Somewhere, um, Buddha said this, and I'm gonna not get it straight, but it is the essence of it. And as I was driving home from getting my prescription, Phil, I was thinking about, oh, a bird flew by. I thought, oh, picture the birds. Those birds have multiple hatchlings. Families, humans might have one. Sometimes they got twins, etc. But just picture birds, the multitude number of birds, but insects. Oh my. And all the animals. A dog could have 10 puppies. A pig could have 10, 20 piglets. You get the point. But insects, there's trillions, quadrillions, I don't know what the numbers are. Insects, animals that are in the universe, but Buddha's saying having a human life is like a turtle swimming in the ocean and finding one bamboo circle wreath that it puts its head through. The whole ocean the turtle could swim in and finds the one wreath to put its head through to be born. So don't waste your human life. And you're not, or y'all wouldn't be here, but you really want to focus on your practice of your daily practice.
Really, not he was not quiet about um he wasn't quiet about injustice. He wasn't, you know,
Oh,
he did. He called it out. Um
now say that again. Did you say Jesus and Buddha or who?
I said Jesus, he was not
Yes,
quiet. He called you out, you know.
yes.
He did. Um
Good point. Good point. Because that was tonight, the start of my teaching was I kind of felt uncomfortable when at a point that I kind of was emphatic with the staff at my doctor's office. Wait a minute. I want Dr. Salazar to know I'm not getting my prescription filled. hold it, this isn't acceptable. But also Buddha, when you're talking about this, most people don't realize also Buddha was an activist. He had women were brought in for the teachings. That was unheard of. The caste system, he fought against the caste system. He was an activist. And Jesus didn't want those money changers, people charging exorbitant amounts. You bet. We speak up. But of course, because I'm not as enlightened as Buddha or Jesus, I've got to sit with and my this rest and beingness, because I haven't quite found the balance where I can be emphatic with that yelling at those money changers without losing my cool.
Yep. And I
But
believe
also everything's perfect like it is. I thought about that as well today. That's what Dzogchen teaches, the natural great perfection. Granted, I could learn, I want to correct, and please forgive me. I'd do that different if I did it again. But everybody's here to learn the lessons they're going to learn, right? I mean, oh, it's so,
it's beautiful. It
mhm,
really is. And I
mm,
know that that things that come into our life are exactly what we need at that time.
mhm. Yeah.
And sometimes I feel like I'm going to crumble. I'm going to be honest. Sometimes, life hits you with so many things, and I do feel like I'm going to crumble. And then I just have to remember that this is what I agreed to. This is why I'm here. This is what the dream is all about. Because sometimes I wonder, what the hell am I doing here? I feel like an alien on a weird ass planet. Sometimes, like, what the hell am I doing here?
Now, two things come to me. One, you're going to see through those images to their real spirit, but also, I forgot, and I did this today after this doctor deal. I realized I was kind of off center. Like you said, you kind of crumble. Here's things besides that in breath, the two finger whisks below the navel, taking the deep breath in from the belly up, and then on the exhale saying ah. You do that 3 times in a row. But beyond that, here's two more things. Just say om, ah, hum. Om is the crown chakra, ah, the throat, hum, the heart. You say that 4 or 5 times in a row, pausing, om, ah, hum, visualizing crown, om, ah, hum, your throat. That starts to center you on your great ray, get you back aligned. But a final one is to, with your closed eyelids, breathe in and out of your closed eyelids. Breathe and out, in and out of your closed eyelids. That could take a minute or two, but what'll happen, it'll take you back vertical. It'll take you back, you're aligned vertically. You'll feel more aligned. And I forgot, and when I did that, I also, my eyes, because of that infection, I started just breathing into my eyes. So whatever seems to have an ache or a pain or an area, besides doing whatever your acupuncturist or your doctor says, etc., therapy, PT, whatever, breathe in and out of the area. Because breathing in I described this a few weeks back, the true giving and receiving for the world isn't really, besides giving money or possessions or material items, true giving and receiving, the giving on the exhale, you exhale pure, clear light out, and that pure clear light out breaks up the darkness. And then on your inhale, you inhale the broken up darkness, and because you're inhaling, it automatically gets dispelled. You don't hold on to darkness, it just automatically gets dispelled. If you feel uncomfortable doing this, don't do it. But it's a circle. The first half of the circle is the giving of the light that breaks up the darkness into pieces. The second half of the circle is the sucking them, inhale, let's see, exhale, the inhaling and then they get dispelled in that circle of purity. That's also the circle of purity. But anyway, so you breathe in and out of your hurt. So I was breathing in and out of my eyes. I'd forgotten to do that. Helps heal them.
Yeah.
So you can picture that about your neighbor too, silently freeing them of some of their sorrow, and grief.
And
That's beautiful. Go.
anybody that lived in Florida through hurricanes have watched a palm tree actually almost lay on the ground without giving up its roots.
Yeah,
And
but I didn't know what you said about they're interconnected with the other roots.
I didn't know that either when I was reading that today. And it says what's it, something in the Psalm in the Bible says something about bend like a palm tree.
Mm-hmm.
I know, and I thought, what does that mean? And yeah, we could almost collapse, but
Mm-hmm.
we're
Mm-hmm.
we support each other, just like our little group here.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Well put. Thank you. Thank you, Dee. Oh, any other thoughts or comments? Because I'm over my hour, but that's okay.
I don't know if Leon here. I haven't seen him in a couple weeks, and I was wondering where he was. Hi, Leon.
Okay.
No pressure.
Oh, now stay and we'll unmute and chat like we do. So thank you all. Y'all want to go through the screen and think of each person here as their holiness that they are and yourself. We don't leave ourselves out of the equation. Always remember to see through your form to the spirit that you are. God Angela, God Dee, God Chaz, God Debbie, God Leon, God Julia, God Glenda, and all those that listen to this video later. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, we hope Barbie's okay. All right, now wait, I gotta find the recording button to